Growing up in the school hard knocks, I didn't know what a moral compass was. I did what I did because that's what I was surrounded by my whole life. I thought what I did was normal, and everyone around me at my age thought that was normal too. A month after my 21st birthday, I ended up staying at the Shangri-La Hotel at the executive suite. I ordered room service that morning. Still remember, 27th of November 2007. I get a knock on the door and I'm thinking it's room service. I just did a drug deal and there's cash everywhere. I get another knock and I'm telling these guys to come in, The door swings open, guys in balaclavas and masks wearing black come in with machine guns and like, get the fuck on the floor. I honestly thought that I'm getting robbed, right? So I've thrown the cash everywhere. Next thing I know, I'm getting hogtied on the floor and then there's cash all around me. And I'm looking out the window, the floor to ceiling window, and then I see Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. For some reason, everything was in slow-mo, and at that moment I thought, I've seen the Harbour Bridge and Opera House my whole life, but at that moment I thought it was so beautiful. And that was the last view of freedom that I saw before I got locked up. I ended up getting sentenced to 13 years in prison for directing a criminal enterprise, and at the age of 21. And at that time I was thinking, my life is over, but in reality, this is just the beginning. On the first day, I realized I was one of the youngest guys, and to be honest, even though I was calm on the outside, I was shitting myself on the inside. I've seen all the cliche movies about what happens to young kids when they go inside, but in reality, that's not true. That doesn't really happen. You just gotta be true to yourself and everything will be alright. Inside, there are 3 categories of people. First are the gamblers, 2, there are junkies, and the 3rd category are the trainers. And I resonated with this group because I could stay positive, and through fitness, that was a way for me to escape the realities of prison. Inside, training can be quite unique and interesting. We didn't have the bench presses or dumbbells that you see in the movies, as they can be used as weapons. So we had to improvise by using detergent bottles and garbage bags with water, and even broomsticks that we turned into dumbbells and barbells. Pretty much just about anything that we can improvise with. Our training was physical, but it was more about strengthening our minds. We could wake up every day at the same shitty place, but as soon as that moment we could train, it meant that we could get away, just for that moment in time. We had a group of guys that we used to train with all the time. And I remember some of the boys getting out, they came back in not long after. And I asked them why they came back, and their response was that they couldn't find a job, or a job that they could hold down. Some couldn't even find a job, so they ended up getting back into the game. And because they didn't have the right support network outside, they ended up coming back in. And I really felt for these guys, especially because I could picture myself doing the same thing. One night in my cell, I had this aha moment. I wanted to create this support network for the boys once they got out of prison, just like how we used to train on the inside, but continue this on the outside. When I got out, I started my own boot camp just by myself with a bunch of friends who were able to experience firsthand some of the training routines that we did in prison. I invited the boys that I trained with inside, and eventually, Confit was born. Confit's mission is to reduce the rates of recidivism in Australia through fitness, as more than 1 in 2 inmates will return back to prison within the first 2 years of their release. I aim to break down the negative criminal stereotypes that everyone has about ex-inmates by offering great training sessions to our clients and by creating a holistic fitness community modeled around the values of freedom. All our trainers have been incarcerated at some point in their lives, and we strive to coach them to become great leaders in the community. For years and years, we were told by prison staff that we were scums of society and that we were never going to make it. But through all that bullshit, we've stayed mentally positive and used fitness to overcome adversity and resilience. After spending 9 years in prison, I've learned a lot of things, but I live by these words: train to be free.